Hey guys, Doc Heath here, and welcome to Executive Espresso. Wow, do we have a great young man in the coffee shop for you guys today, Max Bonilla. He's the maverick mind behind Decoding Gen Z Psyche for Corporate Domination. He is 19 years old, proving youth isn't wasted on the young, just on old business models. He's a California native, a former neighbor of Governor Gavin Newsom, and I'm not sure he ever invited him over for dinner. He is escaping the woke echo chamber. He does one brutally honest tweet at a time, and this is where psychology meets business, because Max is talking about turning Gen Z's brain into your next big business strategy. He preaches that authenticity is over everything because fake news and fake brands just both suck. Businesses beware, you can adapt or get left behind by the Gen Z tsunami, of which Max is leading the wave. And he's a master of independent journalism. You can catch videos of him chasing down the governor of the great state of California. And Max is here to guide you through the corporate BS Gen Z style. So let's get Max up here. Hey Max, good to see you, man. How's the weather out in California?
Good to be with you, sir. And the weather out here, well, we don't even have the sun out yet, but I would say it's going to be great today because we'll have some sun and it'll be about 55 degrees.
Well, tell us, it's getting kind of cold here this morning. I think it was a little over 20 degrees, but 4 days ago it was like 68 degrees. As I say, in many places, I guess, in the U.S., if you don't like the weather in Arkansas, stick around, it'll change. But speaking of change, it seems like business and politics are changing, and Gen Z is leading, kind of pushing a tsunami through making all these changes. But first, tell us, what is Gen Z anyway?
Yeah, so Dr. Heath, 10 Gen Z is 12 to 28. So anyone aged 12 to 28 would be Gen Z. So we're talking people who are barely adolescents to people who probably are 5 years out of college.
And so, why does that matter? Why should that matter to businesses and politicians? By the way, why should businesses and politicians care about you Gen Z folks?
Yeah, because Gen Z folks, they're going to be assuming all the new leadership roles within the corporate world. They're going to be getting into tech. They're going to be getting into innovation. They're going to be getting into any of our manufacturing jobs, at least the little that we have left. Or they're going to even be doing it in other countries because Gen Z is coming up not just in the United States, but all over the world. And so corporations, companies, everybody needs to be preparing for that. There's going to be a big wave of younger people that are coming in.
Well, that's to my next question. So do you see businesses and politicians kind of missing the boat when it comes to relating to Gen Z?
Yes, I do. And one of the big problems, I think, is they're too heavily reliant on the mainstream media. Elon Musk calls it the legacy media, and I think that's an appropriate term. Everybody's leaving it behind. All the journalists are on X, and even though X is now seen as a right wing echo chamber, I think it'd be healthy to have left wingers and right wingers on there. I will say this obviously, I'm a conservative on X, undoubtedly, but if we want to reach Gen
Did you
Z, we
not
have
did
to
you not
reach.
vote for Gavin Newsom?
No, I voted for Donald J. Trump. I voted for Donald J. Trump. That was my first ever vote for president, for
Your
both in
first
the
ever
primary and
vote.
general.
You know, my first vote for president was Ronald Reagan, another great Californian, and one of my favorite presidents of all time. You know, I remember being in
Yeah.
undergrad school, and one of my professors, literally, I'm not making this up, one of my professors literally, and I love the guy. Joe was his name, Professor Joe. He literally got up on a table in the classroom, shaking his fist about the evils of Ronald Reagan and the conservative movement. And it was quite the spectacle. I didn't know what to think about that in undergrad school back in the early '80s. A preacher preaching the sermon of liberalism. I mean, nothing against liberalism. I think it has some fine points, you know. But I do agree with you that I think all journalists should be on social media. And I saw Gary V on a morning break business show or something the other day. Some of you
Yeah.
guys know Gary Vaynerchuk, and he was talking about everything is changing. Even the way people shop is changing from, you might say, legacy ways of shopping to social media shopping. And I also just saw a
Oh
thing
yes.
that one of the things that cost the Democrats the election is being out of touch both with Gen Z and with the new wave of news media, which is on social media. So, what do you think are some of the biggest psychological blind spots businesses have when they're trying to appeal to Gen Z, and how can they correct those, improve their vision for those blind spots?
Well, I think that there's a lot of new, what you would call Gen Z lingo, and I think, we've come up with a lot of slang and whatnot, and this is not language that I generally use. I try to stick to normal, traditional English. For example, we have a word where if something's average, we call it mid, and I'm not a big fan of that word, but I think it'd be funny if some of these companies started trying to appeal to Gen Zers using their lingo, being all cute about it in their ads and whatnot, because that's just how we talk. You can probably see it even all over TikTok. And, hashtags are very popular, but another thing that's very popular is using that lingo, and that's how they get out there on the algorithm.
Well, speaking of that, do you have a maybe a case you could share with us where you think some big brand or even a politician really got it spectacularly wrong with Gen Z, and what might some other businesses learn from how other brands are getting it wrong when it comes to your age group, your generation?
Well, Joe Biden did a phenomenal job of getting it wrong. Kamala Harris did too. The younger vote did go to Kamala Harris, the majority, but there was a large minority that did go to Donald Trump. I saw an article from USA Today where they said that they were disappointed that so many people that were younger voted for Donald Trump. And I was thinking, do you not, are you guys are living in an echo chamber. You guys are living in a false reality, because you have to look at the candidate that you guys put up. You have to look at the two candidates that you put up. My sister is liberal as they come, but she understands that Biden is demented. She said that man is not healthy. He can't serve for another 4 years. So she wasn't gonna put her she wasn't going to box that name. And so Joe Biden couldn't connect with anybody. How can he connect when he can barely put a sentence together? Kamala Harris, same thing, word salads. When somebody asks her, how can you make housing more affordable? She doesn't have anything to say. There's no solution. There's no plan. As Trump said, it was run, spot, run. So that wasn't helpful. Gen Zers want to see an outline. They want to see something that makes sense. And they didn't see that. With Donald Trump, all I saw him posting were internet memes and videos of just like funny things, like visiting angels. Like Biden's walking and he's getting guided by Nancy Pelosi, and it's a commercial for visiting angels. Like that's the kind of stuff that Gen Zers like. We like the troll, and Donald Trump did a fantastic job with the troll.
So somebody with a sense of humor, at least, you know.
Right, and
Yeah.
Joe Biden didn't have that. He Kamala Harris didn't have that, so or hardly any of it. So I think that was the struggle.
So what do you think? And this kind of crosses, business lines and political lines. What do you think is maybe one or two or more, if you know them, some really underutilized marketing strategies that businesses and politicians, or even social media influencers, like myself. I mean, I don't even know what generation I'm in. The whole generational thing is kind of a new thing that came long after I appeared on the planet. And so, what do you think are some underutilized marketing strategies that big companies can use to reach out and really engage with Gen Z?
I think the biggest one is TikTok. I think people are are shocked when I say TikTok, because TikTok is generally thought of as a Chinese platform. It's being banned on January 19th because of a bill that Congress passed. But TikTok is excellent. They are the best when it comes to algorithms. They will get everybody's information out there faster. I have an uncle who runs an auto body shop, and he told me, Facebook, that just doesn't work anymore. That's just really old. Hashtags on Facebook, even Facebook ads are really old. Honestly, there's only one real way, I think, to get yourself out there more than just the traditional methods, and that's TikTok. TikTok has helped people phenomenally. I grew to about over 50,000 followers in the span of several months. So I think that other people can do it too.
Wow, that's amazing. So, are you recommending zeroing in on a single platform or having more of a multi platform approach?
So I'm recommending a multi-platform approach, but that like I said, the number one platform is TikTok, but it's always good to diversify because you never know when you're going to get taken down. So it's good to use the Instagram and the Facebook and just the usuals, and then to try maximizing, your capabilities on TikTok and getting someone who's decent with that because TikTok is free, and TikTok, they do make videos go viral that you would never expect to go viral.
Yeah, don't put all your social eggs in one media platform
Right.
basket. And
That's
so
exactly
what do you
right.
think is why do you think that there's not more just push or progress, businesses just really jumping into platforms like X? I still ask people, I tell people I do these midday mindset support groups on X, and people look at me like a deer in the headlights. I don't even know what X is. And these are people, usually 30 and upwards. They just don't know. Why don't businesses know about these things?
Well, I think it's because they're blind. They're blind to the current, social media apparatus. Social media is how you get out there. You don't get out there using just TV ads anymore. There are a lot of people who don't watch TV anymore. Even Fox News, Newsmax, just the right wing media is not as popular as going on to something like X now. I see the impressions that people get on X, and it's really impressive. Especially if you have Elon Musk following you, then he's putting you out there. Just post cool stuff on X and see where you get because there are a lot of people who just started posting cool stuff on X, and I'm sure they never expected to get boosted by Elon Musk like every day or every couple days.
Yeah, I think that Elon Musk, Elon, if you're listening, you should follow everybody. It's your platform. So you should follow everybody on the platform. Follow Max, follow me, follow everybody. We're putting money in your pocket. We're ramping up your platform. So yeah, I don't know if that would break the algorithm on X or whatever. Well, let's see. We're going to wrap up here in just a few minutes. But what currently, Max, would you say is your own at your age? Biggest mindset struggle, maybe biggest pain point in life currently?
Mindset struggle, I'd say we need to be future focused rather than focused on the past. I know that we struggled over the last 4 years, and I would say that there was a lot of melancholy. There's a lot of sadness, and just people in despair, especially over the economy, over the condition of our country, over our international politics and foreign leadership. Leadership in the foreign out in the international arena, and I think we need to be future focused. Trump just won re-election, and obviously things are going to get mixed up, both in the bureaucracy and in this Congress. So things are going to be shaken up a little bit, and so we got to be ready for that. But really, we got to worry about shaking things up in our own states because, like California right now, they're working to Trump proof the state, and California won't be the only one. You'll have Massachusetts, you'll have New York, you'll probably have all the traditional blue states like Minnesota trying to Trump proof their states in some way, shape, or form, especially when it comes to the illegal immigration deal. They will be trying to enforce, I would say, non enforceable state laws because they contradict the federal law, and immigration is a federal issue. So I think that we need to be future focused and we need to be ready to fight.
Is That's a great answer, and I've never even heard that term, Trump proof. There are actually states that are. In all my years of voting for presidents, I've never heard anybody say let's Jimmy Carter proof a state or let's Bush proof a state. That's a brand new term in my mind. But would
Yes.
you say that your generation are you? So you're saying that you guys are more optimistic about the future, and maybe the older generations are more pessimistic about the future?
Yeah, I would say I'm optimistic about the future. I mean, I would say the older generations are looking down at some of us and they're like, no, I don't think these guys know what they're talking about. I don't think they know how to work. I don't think they yeah, and certainly there are some, right? You have some of these employers that they're hiring and firing Gen Z college graduates within 6 months. But I think we're going to be able to prove to the older generations, at least some of us, that we are capable of working. We do have a good work ethic. We are capable of paying our taxes, earning a living. We are competent, and that we do know how to vote correctly and that we do know how to analyze candidates.
I think it's wonderful, man. And that's why I wanted to have you on Executive Espresso, because I saw you out there and I thought, man, this young man is just so impressive. I'm just thinking about your mom, dad, relatives. If you have siblings, they've got to be so very proud of you. And here's what I think. I
Thank
think
you.
that people my age group, we need to work ourselves out of a job. That's what I did raising my son. My job with my son was to work myself out of a job where he increasingly needed me less and less and less. And now, we talk all the time and we do some fun things and text and all that. But it's been a long time where he really needed to ask my advice about something, because he got all that, growing up. And so I think that my generation and all the others, when it comes to relating to your generation, is it's time for some of the older folks, including politicians in Washington, that really look like they just left a mummification procedure. I just look at these folks and think, holy crap, are you
They
still,
do.
do you even still have a heartbeat? What are you doing there? Turn it over to the younger crowd. And, but yeah, they've been mummified. And so I think our job is to turn
Yeah.
it over. What do you think, what currently is your major focus in your life to make a difference in the world today?
Well, we had a 1,500-page bill come down in Congress here recently, and we had provisions on biolabs, we had provisions on pandemic preparedness. And so, really, the way that I make a difference is I read legislation and I also read code. I read policy and I try to analyze those things and I try to make them comprehensible for people. And legal code is one of the things I like to read. It's interesting. Yesterday, somebody was telling Senator Josh Hawley that they have to include transgender women in women's sports, and he was saying there's nothing in the federal laws, and I kind of recognize he was referring to Title IX, right? But there's nothing in Title IX that says you have to include biological males in female sports. All Title IX does is prevent discrimination. So it would prevent someone from discriminating against a black girl from competing in the NCAA competition, a black girl in the women's NCAA competition. We're not talking about men to women or women to men. And we actually that bill, the Civil Rights Act of 1964, would actually protect gendered and segregated bathrooms and segregated locker rooms. But Biden, when he tried to do the rewrite, he was rewriting a law that was protecting each biological sex from the other. So and protecting that privacy.
I see this in my private practice when I work with parents. Most of you guys know I do mental health work every
Yeah.
single day, and I would call it the cookie jar phenomenon. And so you have parents that they just selfishly will not say no to their children at the cookie jar. You want a cookie?
Mm,
Here's another cookie. Well, I
right.
want another cookie. Not you just had a cookie. Oh, you want another cookie? Here's another cookie. So all of a sudden you have like a 400-pound kid or something. And so at some point, parents have to say no, but politicians have to say no also. Because when you
Yes.
wind up saying yes to everyone, you wind up serving no one. And so when a voter comes to you, you don't say yes just because they're a voter. You say yes because the yes serves the best interest of the country as a whole, not a single individual or a single group. And it seems like, and I'm not a politician, I'm not a political scientist, I don't know much about politics other than how to cast a vote and that kind of thing. But it just seems to be a bit insane to me that politicians won't say, you know what? Yes, I hear the point you're making.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a well-formed point, but no, here's the reason why we're not going to do that, even if
Hmm.
you withhold your vote from me, because I'm here to serve the best interest not just of this generation, but the next one and the next
Yeah.
one and the next one and the next one, so that we have a country 200 years from now, like we've had a country the 200 years before. And as many of you know, the cautionary tale of Rome. Rome was not defeated by enemies from without; it was defeated by enemies from within.
Within, yeah.
And so, Max, man, I'm just thrilled with what you're doing. Keep up the great work. How can people get in touch with you and find out where your work is, and they can get more of your content?
So Outrage Teen on X, thank you for the shout out. And then Max Bonilla, if you look that name up on Facebook or Instagram or really anywhere or TikTok, you'll find it. You'll find it. It'll be like one of the first things that pops up, and you'll see a very recognizable profile picture. And to your point, I'll probably have to talk about how some dude confronted Jamie Raskin, and he had some good points about January 6th. He seemed very well informed, and Jamie Raskin just put him off as a MAGA cultist. He said, "You're a cult. You're part of a cult," and then he walks into
Oh my
the
word! Yeah, yeah.
office.
Not every question deserves a
No words.
response. Yeah, not every question.
Yeah.
I have two more questions for you though, real quick. Number one, why are you so outraged at Outrage Teen? Why pick that handle? What are you so outraged about?
The reason I picked that handle is because I was outraged by my federal leadership, my state leadership, and my local leadership all at the same time, and I figured that those all had to change.
Wow, that's amazing. And let's leave our audience with some type of positive affirmation, some words of encouragement to have a more optimistic future.
Yeah, so just like I said, we have to be future focused, and we have to be, ready to fight. And that's one word, fight. Yeah, politically, of course, appropriately, we don't want to be fighting, fist to fist or committing assaults and batteries, but we want to be, fighting spiritually, mentally, politically. And that's what I'm working on right now. Campaigns are a big deal. There's a lot of money there, and there's a lot to lose, really. There's a lot to lose because some of these people that are campaigning, they're so good, they love this country. So many people that are campaigning at the state level, at the local level, and even at the federal level, they love this country. And so I'm trying to work, within the party, and I'm also trying to work with independents and even bridge a little bit across the aisle because I know I can find some relations there. So I think those are all very important things to do, and I think that we all relate to each other more than we think.
I agree. It's all about the synergy. No matter if we differ in beliefs, we can have a common purpose. And so let's focus on our common purpose. But I will have to ask you one more kind of side note thing as we leave. If Gavin Newsom were listening, I guess he's still the governor of California, what's something you would say to your good buddy Gavin?
Well, I would say thank you for having your CHP confront me the other day at the Capitol to let me know that something's up with me. I appreciate that very much because a lot of people were saying, "Oh, Gavin knows who this guy is. Gavin knows who this guy is," and I'm like, I'm not sure about that. I mean, I talked to him twice, but I don't know if he remembers. And the fact that I had a CHP officer come and interrogate me is very much
California Highway
confirmation of
Patrol?
that. So California Highway Patrol. I'm sorry if I did not
How'd
put that out there.
that interaction go?
Um, I mean, I got asked some very personal questions. I got asked why I was at the Capitol. Where I grew up, where I'm from. Can I give them my ID? Do I have a YouTube channel? Just all these different questions about myself and where did I move from? All that stuff.
That seems kind of odd to ask a citizen of the state of California, much less a citizen of the United States,
Absolutely.
why are you here? And in parting, let me just share with you. It's just such a crazy thing, ironic thing that you say that because guess where I was? Guess where I was when a government official with a gun stared me down and asked me, "Why are you here?" I was in the communistic country of China, and it was a soldier from the Chinese army asking me, "Why are you here?" And so your government has something in common with the government of China. So congratulations on that, man.
I mean, I think it's why we cleaned up the homeless for him, because we're trying to take lessons from Xi Jinping, and he's not going to give us lessons unless those streets are squeaky clean. I think that's what the deal is there.
Oh man, what a crazy world! We're glad that you're in it, Max. Glad for the work that you do, guys. Thanks for joining for Executive
Yeah.
Espresso. Ran a little bit long, but Max deserved the extra airtime, and you guys check him out. And we'll catch you next time on Executive Espresso. Have a Merry Christmas, everybody.
Thank you. You take care.
Bye bye.